Greetings and welcome to everyone. Let's start the chanting of Ngöndro.
Guru Bema Bawo Kandru Tsodan Jeba Dam Ku Garda Sung Dage Ngaji Loyang Tuji Gom Rebara Sharji Ngu Dala Det Tadil Je Tadan Je De Silji Dunje Namgara Jembara Enjuru Jelama Gandzo Namje Medala Do Je Dada Gam Zum Zem Je Nam Sem Noma De Ngöndro Nam Desene Dru Bena Waraja Mando Juru Bezem Jela Porare Do Benal Jurenge Shenka Jene Zodem Benjera Palamai Je June Lunga Ye Danyo Mene Tende Zango Bede Lamba Le Jawai De Jijan Lanj Nere Nyam Gejendero Taranjen De Nyero Baye Jelama Gandro Zo Namje Medage Gozum Jenjelo Medage Gozum Jenjelo Medage Gozum Jenjelo Molazo Ta Dene Lungkuro Salye Yundu Samanyamdo Saruna Shugi.
Now this is time to exhale the stale breath. Let's do it together.
Also, da dejela solde dan chilab yo yindu ane chezun dogon ben lama dela solo se juda dabya dan solo tabi chezo ane chilab yo ne ane lame kozong tozong da rangni yu lunga yizum yerme de gyursong samne ane dejela ane lodo namba shinane karong ki tsigdanzo ane nyamdo song yare ane nyamdo naro na shugi.
Now we move to the supplication and requesting for the blessings part of the preliminary practices. Here we request for blessings so that we are able to listen to the teachings of the preliminary practices. We make the supplications to the guru so it can happen. Likewise, at this part of the practice, we will also visualize that our body, speech, and mind has become inseparable to the body, speech, and mind, the enlightened body, speech, and mind of the Guru. So, with that in mind, we do the supplication, we request for blessings, then we continue to listen to the teachings on the four mind changing.
Balden Zawe Lama Rinpoche Dagi Jiro Beme Den Lash Kadin Jembe Gone Jezun De Gozun Doje Zaldo Zu Dezum Zanye Dam Jeje Ngo Lama Rinpoche Dagi Ju Minjen Julwara Jindi Lamdo Sablam Je Doba Je Barajen Jula Je Wara Jindi Lamdo Zedeni La Oza Zoba Jembe La Tarjen Bara Jindi Lamdo Dezum Zanje Dam Jeje Ngo Lama Rinpoche Je Dagi Ju Minjen Julwara Jindi Labdos Sablam Je Doba Je Barajen Jula Je Wara Jindi Labdos Zedeni La Oza Zoba Jembe Lamjo Dar Jindi Labdos Dezum Zanje Dam Jindi Ngo Lama Rinpoche Je Dagi Ju Minjen Julwara Jindi Labdos Sablam Je Doba Je Barajen Jula Je Wara Jindi Labdos Zedeni La Oza Zoba Lamjo Dar Je Bara Jindi Labdos Solwan Devzo Lama Rinpoche Tongwe Budo Jinjen Jeje Kalme Dala Reza Jule Tuye Irmen Je Bara Jeje Lo Yema Dage Juje Kande Jang Daljuro Dine Shindu Je Baraga Dune Jizon Nizon Jila Nye Kewa Dribe Longa Maju Rinjen Lingne Donglo Nye Kalde Choje Pemba Madum Na Chine Milu Nyeba Gala Jur Tanda Debi Kurvo Rabjewe Ledre Milu Dembe Ngöndro Ronro la so ni da da na nga zo chumden de ji sung be chu Ngöndro ngoshi che sum ye bin na ne ne Ngöndro kor de nyamnen ji ge ba sa na mi do de ko la sam lo tong shi ma yin ba re.
At this point of the preliminary practices, we are in the um, karma, cause, and effect among the four mind changings. Here it says that as per the teachings of the Blessed One, the karma, cause, and effect is true. And if we are not able to accept this truth while we have acquired the precious human birth and having contemplated also on permanence, impermanence, and death. So now we move forward to the karma, cause, and effect part.
Ni na Ngöndro de la yang tomong chi Ngöndro timin nang Ngöndro o de ne regle gi ni yung gi ba le ana nga zo tomong chi Ngöndro ko la sam lo ni he dong shi ma yin zang da de la yang dal jur nye ka wa kor yu chu ba re ane se mi da ba de yang nga zo sam lo dang nga sem ba re da dan da le yun re ji kor la ne sam lo dang dong shi ma yin ba re.
The preliminary practices can also be divided into outer ordinary practices, of preliminary practices and inner extraordinary preliminary practices. Among these two, now we have been learning about the outer ordinary practices, and among the preliminary practices, we are at the four mind changing, among which we have already completed the first two. The first being the difficulty of obtaining the precious human body, followed by the second, impermanence and death. And where we are at now is the four mind changing, which is the karma, cause, and effect.
Ninda le junde de la pangja mege wile da langja ke wile o dine zawiri ni yung yure dile da nga zo langja ke wile den zo unu koro je ge yu ni le je namdang samni meja mangbo yure de ta le che dan yi ngone samno da na lu nga yi sum ji le sum ji to ne le ge yu du ni de ya zawa rob zero je che ba ina ane kewa chu megewa chu legi yubi nane tanda nga zo ane langja kewa chu tonne ane keja sheshin bayi bare.
In the topic of karma, cause, and effect, we come across two major categories. The first are the negative actions that are to be abandoned. Then the second category is the positive actions or the virtuous actions to be adopted. We have already gone through in detail about the negative actions that are to be avoided. Now we are on the positive actions to be adopted. We are quite familiar with the list of positive actions to be adopted. That's why here we are briefly going through the 10 positive actions, which is basically giving up the 10 negative actions and practice their positive antidotes. In brief, the 10 positive actions refers to the 10 actions done by our body, speech, and the mind.
Ne da langja kewa chu denzo korang yingo dang dende ne samlo dang na di druje ane di ye ane dewu jindang yu korla nga zo rob samlo dang ki ane da kewa kare che ba yina yang korang nambar memba che nyong kuku yure tanda min ane tongju nyong yure jene nyong yure lenda chuen la nyong yure la soba mangbo yure ane tat jene nyong yure da lenda chuen la nyong yure yung do samlo tang na kewa chubo denzo ane che yung do za na di nambar memba dewu di ane tori da lui tori sum se korwa la mi la ma yin o denzo sum da kaya rong wala je gu yure tiang da nyoba shu she che jung da kewa top che jung yu do top che jung la den ne dewu jung za min da wa den ne nyong gu yure
After going through the list of positive actions to be adopted by that are divided into three positive acts of our body, four positive acts of the speech, and three positive acts of mind. We have already enlisted them in the previous session, and this is then followed by the results of having engaged, having given up the 10 negative action and practicing their positive antidote. There can be various different kinds of effects of the positive actions based on the acts themselves. So intention and everything that it comes with it, the degree of the action, the fully pure intention per se. So that can cause a difference between the types of effects you have. So the fully ripened effect of these acts is that you will be born in one of the three high realms. Again, the fully ripened effects of this act is that you will be reborn in one of the three high realm. Likewise, the effect similar to the cause as action, is that you take pleasure in doing good in all your subsequent lives, so your merit goes on and on increasing. And then there is the effect similar to the cause as experience for the 10. So this depends on the type of act you're engaged in. Likewise, there can be conditioning effect as well as proliferating effect. Basically, in order to experience this effect, we have to engage in the positive acts from our body, speech, as well as the mind.
네 dene yindu ane tanda sozo mi lu de ane toba na ane de la kawa kumu kure shure kaya sana di mi lu den toba de namin yin rewo che chagu yure de namin ji rewo yindu ane gyu kare che yure si tu zana da kewa ji ten che yo ba de nga zo ane toba che tubu yure ane nga ma sozo ji che shabe kewa de la che zo yirang da tanda ane lu den toba de la kawa kumu kuba yindu ane dene gyuk na samlo daro na
So, the fully ripened effect of the acts is to be reborn in one of the three higher realms, and one of the realm being the the demon's realm per se. So, Lamin in Tibetan. So, when you're born in one of these higher realms, uh, you will take pleasure in all the good that's available to you. Basically, all your desires are fulfilled. You have everything that you want and need. So, but this happens because you have engaged in a positive actions. So, in order to be reborn in one of the three higher realms, we have to be engaging in the positive actions in this life. Not only that, we also rejoice in others engaging in the positive actions. So, now please contemplate if we have been doing that.
라서 네, 다 레오 샴바지 그런 연구에서도 규둔지 레오스게 요래. 규둔지 레오들라 제바 규둔다 영화 규둔이 랭게 요래. 제바 규둔스도 산다 komishi kom디라가 남난지 요래. 박자 남난지 요래. 나도 자와 가리 제반딜로 kom용도 코단다워도 연제 제바들라. 네 제바 규둔 라브게 요사 네 나도 세들라 개화 주든도 양다바제 메가와 주든도 네 방용도 되게다 냠뇽선나면도 검시선나면도 내 박자샤제 아니 개와 치만 남조야 아니 개화 주든도 제로 좋아제 받아 개화 주든도 감감 쉬게 제 로겨 받아 메가와 방에든도 좋아제 받아 아니 디젤 메가와 방에라 아니 배전제 로겨래 근데 박자로 검시 차고 그러. 딱 된대진에 차버차벌라 세딜라네 개워주 줘야다 미거주 방에 제보고 여러와. 땅에 된대 제게 인마 개워주 양도 뭐지 쪼긴 맞는 데서 말에 가야잖아다 개워주잖아. 라다 밀로 되는 양도 톰네 칼레 되는 tarpa tamche jebe gobang juktu gu yore. Mege wachu pangwa kaza mege wachu cheba ina ani korwa da ngansong la mui dunde nongne ani tarpa tamche jebe lam takrung durung du gu yore. Ta ngay majina digi mingdu nyambaji. ke tu te bong chen na de me do nyam ba je na sam ro je ta lo na chu gi.
The second type of effect of engaging in positive actions is the effect similar to the cause as action. The third is the effects similar to the cause as experience. So, in the second one, or the second effect, the effect is similar to the cause as action. This means you take pleasure in doing good in all your subsequent lives, so your merit goes on and on increasing. For example, if we are engaging in a meditation practice now in this life, and we continue engaging in any kind of meditation practice, just as the similar cause of the action of engaging in meditative practice, in the subsequent life also you take pleasure in doing meditation, in performing meditation, and that causes the merit to go on and on increasing. Likewise, if you rejoice in positive actions of others, you continue to do so as the effect of your action, you continue to do so also in subsequent lives. And by engaging in the positive actions, which is actually the effect similar to your previous action, in all your subsequent lives, you continue taking pleasure in doing good, and this causes your merit to go on increasing and increasing. Now, in order to bear such effect similar to the action as cause, what you have to do is engage in the actions in this life. So not only the here we can almost see this like a habitual tendency. So say you have some habits in this life, so you make a habitual tendency of engaging in good, and this is reflected in the effect where you continue to have that habitual tendency of engaging in good. So in order to experience such an effect similar to the action, we have to perform the action in our current life, because unless you engage in positive actions to be applied, you will not experience the similar effect in the next lives, in your subsequent lives. And if you engage in the negative actions, the effects are similar as their action, and you continue to engage in the negative actions. So now is the time to contemplate if we have engaged in negative action, and knowing the effects, have we refrained from engaging in negative action? Have we engaged in positive actions? Have we rejoiced whenever someone else engages in positive action? This is because only when we engage in such actions that we experience the effect similar to the cause as action. So please contemplate if we have engaged in such actions in this life, such that the result will be effect similar to the cause as action, that you take pleasure in doing good in all the subsequent lives, so your merit goes on and on increasing. So now here's the time to contemplate if we have engaged in those actions, if we have engaged in rejoicing when others also engage in actions, so that we can have the similar effect.
laso ne ene da na shin de judun ji de chik de la nyongwa judun se yore nyongwa judun da de lüde karsa gore namin ji de nyongwa ina yang nyong be che la ene yang judun ji de de lö tang tu yu mare de yang mu de ne nyong gu yore ta kane nyong gore se de namin de khora nyam do ya nyong se gore la de ju la yang yong se yore ta da da 개와 주디 온도 섬도 동바이나 더 소주 빵위 이 뇽아 주는데 가르래 그래서도 강사대다 세릉와나 내매바 아니 내가 매바서는 내 뇽아 되네제네 뇽아 되네래 비용구래 아니 다가나진도 마진 렘바 빵위 되네 뇽아 주는데 ndo de kare nyong gore se de ne kanza de ta longje puzon soba na temba da ne ta da koma la soba de ne ji tungal de ne nyong me go ba de nyong yi ba o de ne je ne nyong go yere de ne je ta ne nyong wa de ne le bi yere ta di sama se di ran le bi se yo mare jo chima nam so re ene daga ne chindo do be loyem na pangwi ene nyoa judun je de ene karso re yoga inanda jeme inanda dende ene yeda tumba dende nyeba na ene de la ene karso re barje dang ene tawo la so ba dende tanda dende meba wa dende nyoa judun nyongre segure ta dende nyongo ene tanda na karache gudu gewa dendo che gudu mega pango do nyeba je ene kyos samna darona.
The third kind of effect is the effects similar to the cause as experience. The effects corresponding the 10 positive actions or the virtuous actions are listed. Here we can often confuse the fully ripened effect to the effect similar to the cause as experience because when you're reborn in one of the three higher realm, there also you can experience effect similar to the cause as experience. However, even if you are born in a human realm, whichever realm, the effect similar to cause as experience can be experienced. So let's look at the corresponding effects to the 10 to the virtuous actions that you have engaged in. For giving up taking life, you will have a long life with few illnesses. Remember, it doesn't say no illnesses, but few illnesses. So for the first, for abandoning first negative action, which is to take life, for giving up that, the effect will be a long life with few illnesses. For the second action, which is taking what is not given. So for giving up taking what is not given, the effect will be experiencing prosperity. So everything is fulfilled. Prosperity and freedom from enemies or thieves. So any kind of those pacha or any kind of obstacles that may cause no prosperity or freedom is experienced for giving up taking what is not given. So when you have abandoned this negative action, the prosperity and freedom from enemies or thieves will occur. Likewise, the third negative action is performing the act of sexual misconduct. So for giving up sexual misconduct in the following lives, the effect will be you will have an attractive partner and very few rivals. So for giving up sexual misconduct, the effect will be to have a attractive partner and few rivals. And these are just few examples, just a few short list of what are the effects similar to the cause as experience for some of the negative actions that are abandoned. And the list goes on. However, we have to remember again that in order to experience those effects similar to the cause as experience, we have to have engaged in those actions. We have to have refrained from those actions. So now take this time to contemplate if you have engaged in such actions, if we have if you have engaged in positive actions that are to be engaged in, and if you have refrained from negative actions to be abandoned, so that you may experience the effects similar to the cause as experience.
So ane dana shindo ngak ji kyawa chaba la tenne ane nyonga juna gari yungu rese du ane era da zun pangwam tenpa shibi dobji ane rani la ane kansa shen kunja ane chamba chaba dang ane toba chaba wa dene je ane legi yure ane chama pangwam ane mi nangpen zun mi dunpa zun dunpa ane chamchung subi dobji ane sozo ji nye nye kor dang sozo ji ane chokpo chongma lak soba nangpen zun champo dang tumbo ane chigi chila ane tsewa yoba wa dene je ane riu nyongo nyong tubu yore ane tsekzu pang ne kecha nyembo shibi dobji ane na sozo la ane kaduna kecha nyembo dang kecha tenpa ane o tende jene nyaya jene kokabram rugu yore nga gyal pangwe dobji ane sozo kecha kari sheba ina kecha dene tsikdi la nyoba yoba ane kecha tsikdi pecho yoba je ane kecha sheba mangbo je she ane ya ma kangla ya pendo meba dene ma yamba sheza kangbo ane pendo ba dan nyoba yoba je ane lep rugu yore tende yinzang ane tanda nga zo nga je kewa dunzo yang ane tanda nene rubisha na ane pendo yogira wa ane mega wa dunzo tanda ne pang na pendo yoga yore wa dene la kyut samlo tangro na
We just looked at the effect similar to the cause as experience for the actions that are abandoned by our body. Now we move towards the effects similar to the cause as experience for the actions done by our speech. So the first here, for renouncing lies, for not speaking lies, the effect is to receive praise and love from everyone. So for renouncing lies, you will receive praise and love from everyone. Then, for giving up sowing discord, for giving up such a speech that sows discord among people, the effect similar to the cause as experience here is you will have a respectful circle of friends and servants. So your friends, your families, uh, it would be that circle would be a respectful one. There's harmony in the circle. So for giving up sowing discord, the effect is a respectful circle of friends and families and servants. Likewise, for giving up harsh words, the effect is hearing only pleasant speech. So, having given up speaking harsh words, which is a negative action performed by the speech, the effect will be hearing only pleasant speech. You will have opportunities to hear only pleasant speech. Then, for giving up useless chatter, the effect will be to be listened to seriously. So, because you have given up useless chatter now, the effect is your words will be taken seriously. It won't be like you express your opinions, you speak some words, and it has no power. Your words have no power, people are uninterested in you. No, not like that. For giving up useless chatter, you will be listened to seriously. So these are the effects similar to the cause as experience for the for refraining from four negative actions caused by speech. So again, now take the time to contemplate on your actions. Check if we have engaged in these actions, engaged in the negative actions that are not beneficial in future, or if you have refrained from negative action that only benefits you in the future.
나서 되네 예지 개월 rubi 네 규dunji 되고 네 가린 용도 그래서 되잖아 네 납셈 빵제 노중 조시 엔제비 로데 ene sozoda sambe don namje ndruto buyo sungu bare ene no sampa ne shen la nyingje la so chebi to bi ene kar so re rani la ka nge da chawa na dongal te zam chombu ju nyong ko bu mare sungu yore loda pang ne yang do be dawa de do ni la den ka sam la da ya da ye je be to bi ene 다 템바시다 건조 좀 지나신다 레준데 ngam shu yeje je yang de da wa je la ka le me ba ne da wa nam da ju le je je ne ken pun zum so ba je je tu bu yu sung gu re de ne yang zang de ne dan dan ne nga rang zo ke wan ju be da de ba mang ye de la ne be zon je ba yi na ne ke wa che man nam zo ne ke ju de bong je la te zam je ka nge me ba re dan da ne mi ge wan ru 개와 대점제 만누나 아니 개와 좀 밀류 도벽이랑 가고 쇼샤자래 는 연송송 된절로 노와이나 는 대와 메게와 동감함 쇼게 제도고 유디 는 만에 말아도고 유버래 대인다는 소소소소라 간낭도 권내는 sab서제고 그래서 원대는 쭉 삼는다로는
Now, moving on to the effects similar to the cause as experience for the negative for the negative actions performed by our mind. For abandoning covetousness, the result or the effect will be fulfillment of your wishes. So, for abandoning covetousness, the effect is the fulfillment of all of your wishes. Likewise, for giving up harmful thoughts, for giving up harmful thoughts and instead giving rise to compassion and love and care towards others, the effect will be freedom from harm. So, when we are free from harm, you're also free from suffering, any kind of difficult situations, difficult thoughts. So, for giving up harmful thoughts, the effect is to be free from harm, to be further away from suffering and difficulty. Likewise, for the last negative action, which is a wrong view, for giving up wrong views, the effect is the growth of right view in your mind. So, for giving up the wrong views, the effect similar to cause as experience is the growth of right view in your mind. And when there is the growth of the right view in your mind, this will eventually lead up to the fruition, which is the mind having the ultimate right view, the ultimate awakening. So, in order to experience these effects similar to the cause as experience, what do we have to do? We have to engage in positive actions, and that we do by refraining from the 10 negative actions. If we engage in positive actions and abandon 10 negative actions, these are the similar effects you can experience, which is similar to the cause as experience. So again, take your time now to contemplate if we have engaged in such actions, if we have refrained from negative actions, because only upon doing so we can experience the effects similar to the cause as experience. Without disengaging in negative actions, such effects can be difficult to experience in future. So take this time to contemplate your actions and contemplate on actions, be it negative or positive, contemplate on your actions that can lead to such effects as listed above.
Also, ani da de jela wangi do sagan jigde ne nyongo yere. Na da mege o chubo ninzo che yong de wangi do de ne saja yul de ne ponzum me soba. E kanga mangbo yosala nyongo yoba roa. Da tanda kewa che bi wangi do de dojo da da che ne. Ene yul saja ni dongwa so zon de ba dang tumba. Lodo la soba ya bo je yoba namche dinzo yang re da tunjen dinzo re da kangje ton le ene kange tesam chumbu meba no khoro la che sa oje la kange kyune mesa gende ne kala ka bore de khandar na kala chungwa da le gare na drub le la wa da Tende yul yakbo chala che tubu yobare. Dede ta wangi dewa jang rugu yore. Tende dewa nyong gugu yona tanda nga zo kaiwa rubya na teba pongya la tsomba che gugu yore. Nga de tsomba che kinyi nyamba je kyo sa sambo naro na.
Now, the next kind of effect is the conditioning effect. In this case, in each case of the negative action or refraining from negative action, the conditioning effect is the opposite of the corresponding negative effect. As we also looked at the effects of having performed negative action, where the effect acts on our environment. So, if we have performed negative action in past, the conditioning effect is you're born in a place with not very great circumstances, where you have so much trouble and obstacles. The living situations are not perfect; they are far from perfect, and you can experience very different. You can experience several different kind of suffering and the conditions that causes you to suffer. So, while on the other side, the right opposite is the conditioning effect of refraining from negative action and engaging in positive action. So, in each case, the opposite of the corresponding negative effect will come to place. For example, you are born in places that have all the most perfect circumstances. Please remember that here we do not claim that you won't have any suffering whatsoever. No, you will still have suffering as you are in samsara. However, you will have minimum suffering. You will have the best living condition with a perfect weather. You will have perfect conditioning basically for your life where you can practice and there's not much difficulty, not much obstacles, and likewise even the place has a great condition. The um, the living is easier, the weather is beautiful, weather is better. So basically the conditioning effect is the opposite of corresponding negative effect, and you are born in a place that have all the most perfect circumstances with minimum suffering, with minimum discomfort. And having heard this, the conditioning effect, this is time to contemplate if we have the kinds of actions we have engaged in. Because in order to experience these effects, you have to have performed action. So please contemplate if you have engaged in negative actions or positive actions, because in order to experience the effect, you have to have engaged in the actions.
La zo ta dine yindu nga zo korwa la dewa da tungal sangen parma da kari nangba nangwa yina dunzo tsangma le la ra le yore. Le yin tanda nga rang zo dewa tungal nangwa dunzo tsangma yang ngome ne le ke de lara le yore ne number member khaje lamzang nyong ming ne ba den ya yo ba res ngoma nga zo hyu za ba re pe na cha nam la pur yong du ne nam to la le bin de na cha su nyen de sa na men do tema de nga zo tong to men do wa tema me ba cha ga ma re sa wo la sa ding do ba ba dan tema de ko ta da sher yong yore namen khaje 동al 가제 되네 남성 연구 말해도 kalba mambo 지그 젤라네 용어 되네 연구 요래 베나 발로는 파바 루줍스 근데 나고 사점을 내배 장조산 봐 아니 차대 요래 아니 결부터 저 상보 세근 지그 부대 고 결선 되네 루루룹 예 우랑을 내버려 루룹이 우랑데 단 되게 저랑 지체는 되게 시용도 천자 가리는 바에는 우 간지 누구요 말해 아니 로블로르비 저랑 땅에 천자당 담을 지고는 무소불 너바자에 남민 삼아 세사레디 강에요 말해 저는 짜고셔 지키죠 디에니 남민의 가 장참에 뭐마 가르서 그래 짜킨이 겨울랑 배가서 아니 짜제비 제뒤 하마고 내되네 짜고셔 지 남라네 부드네 지기니 징바체 송요래 딘남민데 종종 지대네 장할하다 요래 저는 짜에 네 징바체다 우디드는 골 우디 제바이나네 제투브레 송네 로블로름 되네네 고만냥을 내바래 인사 첨벌네 라마 짜첨버 되네나 양 남민 종종 되네 락스게 요래 딱 개와이나 양 되낭지네 용거요래 미개와이나 양 되네지는 용거요래 나조네 개와 종종 지이나야 남의 당주요 말에 개와 종종 이나야 딘나민데네 숙종번 용쓰기 요래 디에네 그 담바숨지 지스네 는 개와데 모두네 제고 요래 대과 종종 제rel람나야 남의 당주요 말에 대양뽕 에톱 제고는 딘 라텐네 ndo 동al 망보제야 용쓰기 요래 제등 아주 개와 대과 가래 이나야 상마라 섭서 제고 요래라 대상마 토서조네 셈라라 레기여상 조 아니 르당하기 넘버로 되메고 바제 셈 개메게로 조다고 요래 셈은 가서 그래 장주섬들로 여바다 닝제 여바다 내중 교시로 유비 돈을 조 침바이나 류가라 대점 진료반 요 말에 셈 도자시던 팀모 왕라서 뭐 쇼좀 쇼로 아니 류가 침바 개와 넘버로 여바이나야 녀바 대점 요 말에 아니 간다 류가 이 순자예는 섭선난 거보다 하버던 셈예니 개와 주벨란 베존난 거 그래서 안데지 나로나 휴에.
So the last kind of effect is the proliferating effect, which is that whatever good actions you do will multiply, bringing you uninterrupted good fortune. So whatever good actions you do, it will eventually multiply and it will bring you uninterrupted good fortune. And this is also very similar to the proliferating effect in case of negative actions, where whatever negative actions you do will multiply and bring you uninterrupted suffering. So in case of proliferating effect, whatever good actions you do, big or small, or in whatever degree, it will multiply and bring you the similar uninterrupted good fortune. So in case of proliferating effect, and in case of any effect, in order to experience these effects, you have to have engaged in all the actions. By all the actions, we refer to the body, speech, and mind. It is not enough to just perform good actions or refrain from negative actions from body and speech, and then let the mind wander and engage in negative actions. If you do so, the overall quality of actions, the overall effect will be different. So, it is said in the Sutra of 100 Actions for the all determining quality of actions is joys and sorrows of beings all comes from their actions, said the Buddha. The diversity of actions create the diversity of beings and impels their diverse wanderings. Vast indeed is the net of actions. So, whatever strength and power, wealth, or property we may enjoy now, none of it follows when we die. What we take with us is the actions we have engaged in. So, the negative actions we have gathered during this life will propel on towards to higher or lower samsaric realm, depending on the actions. And the effects of positive or negative actions may not be immediately evident and identifiable, but they do not fade away. We will experience each of them when the right conditions come together. So, even after 100 kalpas, beings' actions are never lost. When the conditions come together, the fruit will fully ripen. So there is also a story about Acharya Nagarjuna and other teachers, where sometimes where the masters is they have engaged in previously they have engaged in positive actions of body and speech, but not with their mind. They have different effects. They are still suffering, whereas the Acharya Nagarjuna is experiencing all good effects. So, when asked why is that the case, why is even the great teacher experiencing suffering and negative and bad fortune, negative experiences, they're asked to look back at their actions, and they find out that the quality of actions was different. That is to say, they hadn't engaged in a positive actions from body, speech, and mind, not completely. They refrain from some actions, not and not all actions. So in that case, they experience different effects, right? Likewise, even when the Buddhas and Arhats, Acharya Nagarjuna per se, who have rid themselves of all karmic and emotional obscuration, they still have to accept the effects of past actions. If they had to experience them, who are we? We are just the ordinary beings, and we are bound to experience them, and it's just a matter of when. So, in the in their in all their conceivable inconceivable variety, the pleasures and the miseries that each individual beings experience, from the summit of experience existence down to the very lowest depth of hell, arises only from the positive and negative actions that each has accumulated in past. So take this time to contemplate on the actions we have engaged in. Are they negative actions? Are they positive actions? Have we engaged in negative actions directly? Have we rejoiced in others engaging in negative action? Likewise, have we engaged in positive actions? And if we have rejoiced whenever others have engaged in positive action as well, because depending on the kind of actions you have, you will experience the effect. So that were the many different kind of effects you could experience as the depending on the actions you have done in your life. So please contemplate on these actions.
라서 되는 거 냠노 소로낭
Now let's perform dedication of the merit.
저야 롤바 제베 딜고로 대제 상아 제베 개와 되섬 자베 개조 군도 라메 장조 닝보 오라니 소남데 다연 조와 군 제나 상웨 바르제 군시 림니 람제 저바 다르지 Pema jalbe ngoba nyurdo jo zanju lame je lam nyingla yedam kanro leda jebje chönyon zomme barje gonza chodung jube jaje jo Om Bajracharya Bema Zede O Mijinde Chembe Yejene Wazanyo Mekaye Dame Songju Wang Beju Darangwana Rajin Zhun Beijin Zhun Bema Junye Ngon Zum Jazren Dele Lo Nyam Nang Kong Jalmen Gangjin Bu Rengba Zen Ba Wu Zhanggen Jose Lo De Doje Lo Garajur Dewi De Men Kumbo Da Ye Nyingje Terenje Jan Ambe Modang Gozum Gonde Jeme Dorenza Kandol Dru Bezenjo Jelazo Zendango Yenamro Dale Benjo Dra Jeme Duzadr Tajenga Nyam Yeje Jazum Sedebe Madado Jevraj Deyare Zenamje Zenamla Denego Da Yeje Jazu Sonye La Mengo Ba Nyudon Raje De Nye Lunye Rubrajo De Meje Da Yerme Be Manjo Rananda Be Zando Barej Nare Yerme Maju Nyumen Nene Nam Da Jindu Jewarajo Gando Njebe Jewa Damje Dore Yuden Dunden Dobra Yema Dado Jeda Jurene Soje Jube Rawa Yobra Chedo Nene Nyingbe Dundru Sedire Sebe Jazo Galora Seba Dambe Jerab Denje Shemben Jubla Tyongala Mebra Labje Chore Mebaye Damje Jamje Sanje Dobarajo Lazo Tojiche Kuzo Dojana and Nazo Chemajayong.
Thank you for attending the session today. We will meet again next week.